Being a day trade warrior, what does it mean? Taking $583 and turning it into $1 million? Yeah, I'd say that's being a day trade warrior. Today is the day I crossed over $1 million of trading profits. It took me 2.5 years. 2.5 years ago, I started with $583.15 in my account. Today, I crossed over $1 million of trading profits. Don't tell me I can't do it. It's just been done. This has been an incredible challenge. It took about 553 trading days, 2.5 years, which means I was averaging about $1,800 per day. Now, we're gonna talk about the metrics, the biggest winners, the biggest losers. I'm gonna break it all down during this recap, but I want you to remember something. Your job as a day trader, as a day trade warrior, is to just find that one stock each day that has the potential to make a big move. And once you've got a system for finding that needle in the haystack, trading becomes easy. And the only difference between making $100 a day and making $200 is increasing your share size. And the only difference between $200 and $400 is increasing your share size. Averaging $1,800 a day with about 9,000 shares, that means all I was doing was getting 20 cents of profit out of the market. 2 times 9 is 18. 20 cents of profit, 9,000 shares is $1,800 a day. You do that over the course of 553 days and you will be a millionaire. It can be done. So I want you guys to really enjoy this recap. It's a really special one. And if you want to go back and watch day one of the $583 challenge, you can do that. Watch day one and then watch today. I'm the same trader, same strategy, 2.5 years later, an extra $1 million of profits. Pretty amazing. Any questions, any comments, leave them below. And as usual, I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning, live streaming around 9:15. See you guys in the morning. All right, everyone. So we're going to do midday market recap here. This is a very special midday market recap. This is day 553 of the $1 million challenge. My goal to take a $583 account and turn it into $1 million. And today's the day I crossed that $1 million mark. So $14,157 today gets me across that mark. I had $48,000 in my account this morning, so a nice 30% gain on the account. Never really kept much more than 50 or 75,000 in my account at any one time, always taking out the profits at the end of each month. But today will mark the cross of the $1 million line, which is really pretty incredible. This journey started about 2.5 years ago on January 1st, 2017. And at the end of each month, my broker statements have gone on the website, 2017, 2018, 2019. Yesterday was the last day of April. And on the last day of April, I finished with $987,000 of profit, which put me about $217.91 away from the goal. And so I didn't really think that I was going to cross it this week. Yesterday, I actually lost $1,400. I wasn't expecting to have a big home run today, but it ended up happening. And once I was up 8,000, I started thinking, you might cross that level today. And then I was up 9,000, and then 10,000, and then I was up 11,000, and I was like, only $1,000 to go. And then I was up 12,000, only 200 to go. And then I was up 13,000 and I figured, well, let's just get a little cushion off this mark because, once I get my statements, I won't know exactly to the penny, this amount here, when you get it down to the statement, sometimes is a little different. So I was like, let's just get a nice cushion and be 100% across the $1 million line in the sand. And so now it's done. And we're going to talk a little bit about this journey here today. What it's like to take $583 and turn it into $1 million. I knew it was possible. It was only a matter of time. But I'll say the hardest part of this challenge was the first 5% and the last 5%. The first 5%, the first 50 grand was tough. I had to trade pretty aggressively. I had to work really hard on making sure I didn't have hardly any losses. And what's cool is that I have all of the metrics of this challenge right in here. So I can go right here, day one to day 128. Let's just say the first 28 days of 2017. I can export all my trades and import them right here into Trader View. So let's look at detailed. This was the first 28 days, $14,000 of profit, 87% accuracy. I took 47 trades in total. And my average winners were $375, average losers $220. So, that was a really good start. And that was actually only the first, first 1.5%. But that was the hardest part. You guys have no sound on? I see that on Facebook. I'm going to restart the Facebook Live for you guys. Let me just go see more. I'm just going to copy this and start the live broadcast over for you guys on Facebook. Hang on, let me just switch over and I'll put it back up. Those of you guys in the chat, you should all be fine. So yeah, this was the first, the first month. And a lot of people have asked me a lot of questions about how do you trade with an account as small as $500? How is that even possible? It's of course possible. And of course I did it. It's not something you're going to be able to do with E-Trade. It's not something you're going to be able to do with Ameritrade. I had to find a broker that caters to active day traders with small accounts. And of course I found that broker and then was able to start trading. But for those of you guys that are at the very beginning of your learning curve, knowing the right tools to use, the right brokers, all of that is, it's a learning process. So for those of you guys watching this video on YouTube, what I'll do is I'll put in the description a couple different things. I'll probably put a link to one of my short classes, Day Trading 101, where I walk you guys through how to set up a small account, how to start trading with as little as $500, kind of all of those basic things, how to manage risk when you have a tiny account. And then I'll also probably put a link to a webinar or something like that you guys could attend. I host live workshops from time to time. So I'll just keep updating those links and you guys are welcome to check them out. I'll also put a coupon code out there. Coupon code MILLION will be 30% off store-wide. All right, so you guys can check that out. I'll probably keep that up there as an evergreen coupon code. If it doesn't work, it means that we pulled it down. Maybe too many people were using it, but I will leave it up for right now. At least I'll put it up today and leave it up for the time being. So coupon code MILLION will save you 30% if you do decide to get started. But the beginning of the challenge, and this is the other cool thing, I decided to do something on this challenge that was a little different. I had done small account challenges in the past, but I had always done a small account challenge, and then at the end of the month I'd be like, hey guys, this is what I did. I would share it with you guys after I was done with it. I felt like it was too much pressure to show in real time the challenge. So I was always just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do the challenge, and then if it goes well at the end of the month, I'll share it with you guys. And if it doesn't go well, there's no pressure. I just I won't share it. And with this $583 challenge, it started on January 1st, 2017. And if I go onto our YouTube channel here, let me just look for this. This is right here, 563 videos deep, the $583 challenge. So, I click on this and video one, it should load up video one, day one, $583. So it was actually January 3rd. That was the first day of 2017. And so you can go back and you can watch this all the way from day one. So, as of today, this video has, almost 500,000 views. And I'm sure it'll have more by the time you guys are done with it. The Godfather theme, that's funny. But anyways, I decided to do this fully transparent, to do it right in front of you guys. And I was fully prepared that on the first day, day one here, that it was definitely possible that I would end up taking a loss. but I ended up making $124. The first day was a green day, $124, and that continued with day 2, about $187 or something like that. Day 3, $150. Day 4, $150. By that point, I was up $618 on the week. I'd already doubled my account, and it just kept going from there, kept growing, and it started with a goal of turning the account into $100,000. And once I hit 100 grand, I was like, all right, well, that only took 45 days. And I think I can do that 9 more times. So let's just go all in and make this the $1 million challenge. And, I think a week after I did it, I was like, wow, I'm only 11% of the way there. Like, I'm going to be doing this thing for a really long time. In fact, 2.5 years. It's about as long as it takes to get a master's degree in, if you're going to the university or whatever. But I knew it could be done. I mean, at the end of the day, once I had 50,000 in the account, I knew it could be done. It was only a matter of time. That's really all it was. It was just a matter of time because, I was consistently making $40,000, $50,000 a month. So it was like, well, if this takes me 3 years, it takes 3 years, but it's going to happen. What I didn't expect was near the end of the challenge, and now let's look, bring this all the way to present, and I'll upload today's trades tomorrow once they're available. We'll go 2019. So here, as I got towards the end of the challenge, what I didn't expect was some of the emotional ups and downs that I would have. As I got really close to the end, I started to get really aggressive. I started to really badly want to finish this goal. And as a result, I ended up having the biggest drawdown of the entire challenge. This challenge from over the course of 2 years, during the first year, the biggest drawdown I ever had was 14,000 going into, I guess this was 22,000, 22,000, 24,000. So that would be over a period of several bad days. And of course, by this point, I already was up, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then here on this day, before I had this huge drawdown, I was only about $10,000 away from the goal. So look at this. Let's zoom in on this for a second. I got in my head. I got in my head. I was right here, $8,000 away from the goal. I was so close. And, I kind of was talking about this in one of my recaps, being like, trying to do something that's never really been done before. It's like, in my mind, trying to cross the Grand Canyon on a tightrope. And, once I was halfway, I was like, feeling good, had some really good stretches here, a couple pullbacks, whatever, but really good momentum overall. Wind at my sails, just feeling solid. And then all of a sudden I've got like the last 50 feet to go, and I start getting in my head like, whoa, I'm going to do this. Like, what day am I going to cross this level? What am I going to do when I finish this? Then what happens? And I lost my balance and I lost my focus. And I started trading my profit loss. I started really trading based on what this number looked like every day, instead of trading the actual stocks that were right in front of me. Today was the big one, ABIO, from $5.50 all the way up to $9. I mean, this was an incredible move. But what I'd started doing sort of at the last part of this challenge here, I'd started just grasping at straws, trying to hit anything that was moving. And I stopped doing what was working so well during this long and really strong period of momentum. And I ended up learning something pretty profound about trading that I wouldn't have learned if I just sailed right across that line. And what I learned was that one of the biggest challenges is the pressure that you put on yourself. And this is something that I struggled with as a beginner trader. When I first got started, and a lot of our students can attest to this, and I'll show you, a couple of them here. Roberto is one of the students at Warrior Trading who's a member of the 100K Club, making $8,000 a month, day trading from Europe. And when he got started trading, he lost money, same as me. He was living in Detroit, trying to figure out a way to get himself back to Italy, which is where he's from. And he had that pressure that he needed to be successful. It needed to work. It needed to work so he could, live this life that he always wanted. And when you start putting a lot of pressure on yourself, under that pressure, you can start making some mistakes. And when I was first getting started, I had a tremendous amount of pressure. I had a pressure from, who's now my ex-wife, who wanted so badly for me to start making money so we could start doing all these fun things. And, it was like, well, I want to plan a big trip in July. So you need to make $15,000 before July. You need to do this, you need to do that. And I just kept not coming up to that level. And there was so much pressure, and that pressure was getting me, feeling like I was backed into the corner. And then I would start doing things out of desperation. I started trading, this number here. This number was red, and I started getting all freaked out, getting all antsy. And then once, I started to just kind of let go of that. And sometimes that meant taking that P&L right off my screen, so I wasn't even looking at it so closely each day. Once I started really just trading the stocks that were in front of me and taking the red days as they came and not being bent out of shape about them, and taking the green days as they came, the $100, $200, I started just sort of feeling more confident. And then next thing I knew, I had a period of consistent profitability. And, there were some specific turning points that I had that I talk about during our classes, Day Trade 101, the Warrior Starter, and some of our webinars and stuff. But, just to summarize, one of the big turning points, of course, was discovering an actual strategy. Because before then, just throwing darts at the wall doesn't work at all, right? I needed an actual strategy. But once I had the strategy, I still struggled a little bit with that mental game. And letting myself off the hook, taking that pressure off, ended up making a big difference. And then, the ironic thing is that, once the pressure's off and you don't feel like you need to be making the money, then you start making the money. And that's one of those things that I talk about sometimes with trying to solve a problem, that you don't always solve the problem until you look away from it. Sometimes you need to look away, you need to think about other things, you need to just get out of the situation, and then all of a sudden the solution comes to you. So, I've gone through this, and for me, again, re-experiencing it here at the end of this big challenge, I think ultimately will just help with my teaching and the mentoring that I do for so many of our students. And so Roberto, now a student who's become a member of the 100K Club, making over $100,000, taking a small account, turning it into 100 grand, trading from Europe, and living life 100% on his own terms. And this is all to say that I'm not the only one that's figured this out. One of Roberto's friends, who's a really, really nice guy in the Czech Republic, Peter, making $6,900 in 42 days, day trading from Europe. Market opens at 3:30 p.m. for him, and he starts trading as soon as the bell rings. It's amazing to have seen so many students go through this learning curve and get to the other side where they're trading profitably. Another European student here, Max, from $64 or 64 euros a day to 500 a day as a trader. So this kind of common theme of going from a job that maybe isn't super satisfying to living life 100% on your own terms. Here's Paul, U.S. Army Special Forces Sergeant to day trader, retired, and said, I want to do something a little less stressful. So the path is there, but it starts with knowing a strategy. And then once you know the strategy, it's having the discipline to follow the rules. And so, let's look at today's trades. Today was a day where we had some hot momentum. It ended up being on ABIO. So ABIO, as we look at this here, and I'll just move this up a little higher. This one was a surprise momentum stock. It was not on my radar. It wasn't on my radar at all. I wasn't even looking at it this morning. And in fact, you can see, although it was actually gapping up slightly this morning, I don't think it was something that anyone was looking super closely at. So every day starts the same way. It starts by looking at our scanners, which are the gap scanners. These tell us the stocks that are opening up the most out of the entire US market today. And so if we go and we refresh this and we do a time frame of 9:25 a.m., we'll see at 9:25 a.m. this morning, this is what our gap scanner looked like. We had staff up here, and you'll see I ended up trading it, made $247 on it. We had and again, I only trade stocks between $2 and $10. So this was off the list. This was too cheap, too expensive, too expensive, too expensive. So right away, when I'm looking at the market, I've already been able to filter down stuff that I'm not going to trade. Now, I still like to see what's happening, so that's why I keep the filters open. This one only had 2 shares of volume, so that was off the list. This one I looked at, but not a lot of volume. Too expensive, maybe, too expensive, and this one was a maybe. So pretty much that was the list this morning. Staff, ORGO, and then these ones I was kind of looking at. So the bell rings, I end up taking a trade on staff. I do a gap and go trade on it. I jump in and scalp it. It ends up moving to a high of $2.28. It doesn't really hold that level. It drops back down, and I end up stopping out of the rest of it. So a 9,000 share position, only made $240. Not a home run by any means. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, well, let's switch gears here and let's look at the high day momentum scanner. So back here, this scanner shows me the stocks that are moving up in real time, moving up right now. And so, all of a sudden off this scanner, of course, staff is on there. This stock is on there. Another stock is on there. Arlo, these are some higher priced stocks, but I like to see what's moving in the entire US market. TAIT's on there. I lost money on it yesterday, so I wasn't eager to jump on it. MTFB popped up here, up about 20%, made $153 on that. And then here we go, ABIO. It hits the scanner at $5.72. And when it hits the scanner, it has 55,000 shares of volume and shows that has a float of 155,000 shares, which is a ridiculously small float. I mean, that's absolutely crazy small. It's probably not even accurate. I can't really imagine that it's actually that small, but in any case, and I see here news at 8:35 a.m. here today, 8:35 a.m. There's news out on it. So this news headline, you can see by Benzinga, the headline, where is it? Let's pull this up here. So, this is the headline right here. So I see that there's a catalyst. I see a combination of low float, moving up quickly, up 10% with a catalyst. And as soon as I saw that, I then look at it and I saw that it was about to get halted on a circuit breaker. The circuit breaker level was 609. Now, remember with circuit breakers, you can see LULD, limit up, limit down. And that told me that if this stock right now, if it breaks over 424, it will get halted for a period of at least 5 minutes on a circuit breaker halt. These volatility halts were created in the market to help reduce volatility, especially to the downside. So if a stock suddenly drops 10% within 5 minutes, it will get halted for 5 minutes to give investors a chance to kind of circulate news, figure out what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. It sort of just brings the emotions down, and it was really designed to help prevent a flash crash in the market. But they go both going down and going up. And so as I saw it, the circuit breaker halt was at 609. And as it was at 585, 588, boom, 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 I started jumping in, and it ends up hitting 609 and getting halted. And I have not a full position, but a partial position. I'm trying to, get in it. It resumes, and I add at 645, 650. So I added on this coming out of the halt. It then pops up to a high of 690 right here. It then goes to 708. Does a nice little pullback here, and check this out. This candle right here, it goes from 676 all the way up to 725. It then pulls back, comes back to 725. It pulls back, and when it breaks 725, it opens up and goes up to 740, 750. A little consolidation here at 750. We weren't sure it was going to be able to break over that level. It felt like it was sort of getting overdone, and then it popped up to 758. It pulls back, breaks over 758, squeezes up from 750 all the way up to $8.35. It pulls back again and moves up here to a high of $9. High a day, $9. So the big trade here on this one for me, the biggest one I think was right around here. This is when we got that quick break. So it squeezes up, takes off, and you can see I was just actively trading this, jumping in, jumping out, jumping in, jumping out. I was aggressive, and once I was up $8,000 or whatever it was, that's when I started to really put the pedal to the metal. I was like, okay, this thing is opening up. I'm going to start to, I see the potential for a big win. So where was this? So let's see, this was right, so that was 723, right. So this was the big one right here. So and look at, this was a very quick trade, ridiculously so. I didn't expect it to be so quick, but in at 670, 77, 6,000 shares, tried to add to 9,000 at 81, didn't get filled. It immediately goes to 25. I'm selling a little bit on the ass, 23, 24. I end up getting back in for the break of 7, out at 715, 724. I mean, I was just super aggressive on this, adding, selling. And, that's how I worked myself up to $13,000 of profit. It wasn't one trade. It was lots of small trades. Base hits add up. And over the course of this challenge, I've had a lot of base hits. So if we go back to the overview, 2,873 trades, 67% accuracy. Average winner is only about 7 minutes long. And I only trade for 1 hour a day, 9:30 to 10:30, 1 hour a day. So Max and Roberto and Peter over in Europe, they trade from 3:30 to 4:30, 5 p.m. local time for them. And then they call it a day. A lot of you guys in California, you get up a little early, trade at, get up at 6 a.m., trade from 6:30 to 7:30, 8 a.m., and then you go, to your day job. Peter's still working his day job. A lot of people will still work their day job because trading affords you that ability, if you're not on Eastern time zone. And of course, even if you are on Eastern time zone, you have the opportunity to work a night shift, 3 to 11 or something like that. So this has been a pretty amazing challenge. Price and volume, some interesting metrics here. We'll probably get into a lot more of this I'll probably host a webinar specific to this challenge. So maybe I'll save this stuff and cover it there. So we'll go through all of this. We'll go through days and times, the price and volume, instrument, market behavior, win-loss expectation, liquidity. We'll do all of that in a separate webinar specific to taking $583 and turning it into $1 million. So now that the challenge is done, what comes next? Since this has been a 2.5-year challenge, 2.5 years is a really long time, no doubt about it. If I started over tomorrow with $583 again, that'd be another 2.5 years, plus or minus 2 to 3 years. So that's a long commitment, and no doubt it's a lot of pressure to do a $500 type of challenge. And so what I think I'm going to do are shorter challenges. I will do small account challenges, but I think I'll probably do a $500 challenge, a $1,000 challenge, and do it as a 1 month challenge to see what I can do in 1 month. Maybe I'll do a 100K challenge, something like that. I'll do short challenges and then start over again. $583 to 50K, $583 to 25K. And, just kind of keep doing those smaller challenges, shorter challenges, a little bit more manageable, kind of like just like a football game or something like that, rather than doing a whole season, just do kind of short little challenges. And I think that'll be exciting for you guys, especially for those of you that are trading with small accounts on any given day. And of course, during those challenges, I'll probably still actively trade in my main account, because the biggest downside for me with trading with a tiny account is that I can't make as much money. In 1 month, I might make, as I made in the first month of the challenge, only $15,000, whereas 1 month with my big account, I'd be making, anywhere from 50 grand to 100 grand. So that's a little bit of a challenge, sacrificing profits. But I have gotten some practice at trading in 2 accounts at the same time. as I did it during this challenge at various points. So, you know, and I even have been doing it recently with a retirement account and my main account. So I'll probably do something like that. And of course, I'll keep working with students, and maybe having a little bit of pressure off of trading will give me a little more time to work with you guys. So, you know, I know, you know, how exciting it is to have that moment where you're finally on the other side of the learning curve. And my goal is to help as many of you get there as possible, as many of you guys who have the dedication, the drive, the discipline, who want to make it happen. So, you know, this is proof that it can be done. It's this is the, you know, the 4-minute mile. Now that it's been done, I won't be the last one to do it. You know, Roger Bannister crossing the 4-minute mile. And when was that? Let me Google that. It was like March 6th or May 6th. Roger Bannister. Let's see. That was on May 6th. Yeah, May 6th, 1954. So, May 6th, 1954, he was the first person to run a documented 4-minute mile. And since he's done it, now thousands of people have done it since, right? So, you know, it's like once it's been proven that it's actually possible, because a lot of people have said, and I can't tell you how many people have said, Ross, it is mathematically impossible to take $583 and turn it into $1 million. That's a 170,000% return. I just did it. Don't tell me I can't. It's just been done. Here's what is mathematically impossible. It is mathematically impossible, at least in my mind, to take $583,000 and turn it into a 170,000% return. There is a limit to scalability in the market. So for me to take $583 and turn it into $1 million, I had to use an average position size of about 8,000 shares. So if I started with, let's say, $5,800, and I wanted to turn it into 10 million, I would have had to trade with 80,000 shares. 80,000 shares average position size. If I wanted to start with 58,000 and turn it into 100 million, I'd have to be trading with 800,000 shares. And you can't buy 800,000 shares of these stocks. You can't even buy 800,000 shares of a lot of big stocks if you wanted to. And so that's the limit. There's a limit to scalability. Can you take $583 and turn it into 100K? Absolutely. I've proven you can. Can you turn it into $1 million? Absolutely. Can you make $1 million a year day trading the markets? I don't see why not. Now, my best year as of today is $500,000, but I don't see why $1 million is out of reach. Can you make 10 million? Can you make 20 million? Can you make 50 million? I don't know. I maybe, but I really don't think I've seen it. And so, you know, that's the downside of this, of what I do, that there is a limit to scalability. And, you know, that's why I focused my efforts on, you know, being a teacher, to help as many of you guys get to, you know, a similar level as me. It's not practical for me at this point to try to open a hedge fund and try to get, you know, people to give me millions of dollars, because I'm not going to be able to return 170,000% if I have a $10 million account. Could I make 500,000 a year with it? Well, yeah, because I have already proven I can make 500,000 a year. So, you know, 5%. Can I make $1 million a year? I don't know. Can I make $2 million a year? Maybe. But, you know, you think about it, the way hedge funds work, you get 2%. You get 2% of the management fee. 2% is a management fee. You get 20% of the profits. So, you know, even if I had a hedge fund with $10 million and I made $1 million a year, well, I'd keep 20% of that. I'd keep 200K, and then I'd get 2% management fee. So, you know, I'd make $220,000 with a $10 million account, or I can just keep trading with my regular $50,000 account and make $500,000 a year. So, and keep it for myself, right? So that's why it just, for me, has never made sense. And some people have criticized that. You know, if you're really so good, you would just, you know, open a hedge fund and become the next Warren Buffett. But my strategy has a limit to scalability. So, you know, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with $500,000 a year. I'm perfectly happy with Roberto making, 8,000 a month, with Peter making 6,900 in 42 days, with so many, Max, John, all Selena, all of our other students who have done so well. Hulk is another student that's been doing really well. One of the things that I've really enjoyed doing is giving students who do well the opportunity to start teaching, to start giving back a little bit. Hulk, a couple years ago, you can see Hulk right here. He's in the large cap room, but a couple years ago he was, working in. I'll close this. Working in a auto transport management kind of position, and now here's a day where he's making $3,000. It's crazy. I mean, once you get it, and that's the blessing of the curse of the market, that you can spend literally a year and a half, 2 years struggling to figure it out, which is what happened to me. I spent, 2.5 years struggling to figure it out, not making consistent profits. That's the curse. And then the blessing is that once you figure it out, the only difference between making 2,200 a day and 2,000 a day is increasing your share size. That's it. And that's exactly what I've done. I went from trading 2,000 shares to 4,000, from 4,000 to 8,000, from 8 up to 10, 12,000 shares sometimes. Sometimes I go a little higher. So, that's the exciting thing. And, day trading is, I'd say, never been more popular than it is right now. And it's because of accessibility. Because right here, from the palm of your hand, you can access the market. So you guys are in an awesome place to be learning, and you've got the tools and the resources to make it happen. Our trading simulator makes it really easy for you guys to start practicing, get in there, start trading without ever risking real money. There is a path to success. 90% of traders don't take that path. They try to do it on their own, trial and error, and they lose money. But you guys who are in the chat room, and you guys who are watching on Facebook or watching on YouTube, the fact that you're watching and have still watched up till now, you're showing you've got what it takes to be part of the 10% who succeed. So stick with it. It can happen. And when it does happen, it's pretty amazing. I'm not going to say making, $30,000-$40,000 in a single day isn't amazing. Money, I wouldn't say it buys happiness, but it certainly buys a better quality of life. And you don't have to worry about bills, and you can buy what you want, and you can provide for your family, and you just don't have that worry anymore. So, and if you're still in a 9-to-5 job, it can certainly buy your way out of the 9-to-5 grind. I haven't had a 9-to-5 job now in more than 10 years, and I'm not going to look back, right? Once you get a taste of the market, it's incredible. $14,000 in one day. So this afternoon, if I go out and do some grocery shopping, what are groceries going to cost me at most? Like $150? $200? It's like you're never going to spend $14,000 in a day. Unless you're really going crazy. But this isn't about private jets and driving $1 million type of sports car. Whatever. It's not about having a Bugatti. It's just about making enough money to live life on your own terms. That's what it's always been for me. So anyways, this has been an awesome day. Really exciting here. I'm sure a lot of you guys will end up watching this recap a couple times. This was at the end of the day, this was just one day in a challenge that spanned about 553 trading days, 560 or something like that. So this wasn't the best day. Certainly wasn't the worst day. This was just another average day. And I'll be back at it tomorrow, same as always. So, those of you guys that want to learn more, check out some of the links in the description, and I will see you guys back in the chat room. All right, see you guys all first thing tomorrow morning. Bye, everyone. If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.